Welcome to Monte Vista Course Information Fair video for geometry. This video is for people that are considering coming into geometry. Let me start us with a slideshow here. And the teachers for geometry this year at least are Mr. Greenstein and myself, Mr. Payne. I've been teaching geometry on and off at Monte Vista High School for the last 15 years. And I love geometry. I think it's probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite math topic. And I love it because it's so visual and we're applying it constantly to two-dimensional and sometimes even three-dimensional shapes. And I think that's a lot of fun. I really enjoy that. So if you're a visual person, I think you can get a lot out of geometry. But anyway, if you're thinking about going into geometry, you should be definitely coming from Algebra 1. That's one thing we should talk about is you should have successfully completed Algebra 1, whether you're coming from 8th grade and you're going to be a freshman at Monte Vista, or if you took Algebra 1 at Monte Vista and completed that, then you move on to our geometry. It's important because it's required to graduate from high school and it's a prerequisite for Algebra 2. So skipping geometry, not a good idea. Make sure geometry has a lot of really important concepts, including a chapter on logical thinking that are extremely important for math and science. Also, I think if you're coming from middle school, make sure that you have actually taken a full year of Algebra 1, not just Math 8. That's not enough. That will catch up to you in geometry and in Algebra 2 if you don't really complete the full year of Algebra 1. All right. So some of the skills that you'll need to be successful in geometry: make sure you can be organized, stay on top of your daily or your day-to-day, week-to-week homework assignments. You want to be organized with your materials, right? You'll need some things like protractors and graph paper, maybe a compass, some things that you haven't had before for some of your math classes. So you want to be organized and persistent and patient, good for all your classes. You want to make sure your algebra is completed and that you have, you're going to be able to work on your abstract reasoning skills, which is great. Core topics, you can see the 8 topics here. I'll let you take a look at those. I'm not going to talk through all of them, but most of these have their own chapters in our geometry textbook. Classwork, well, we have homework right now. Of course, shelter in place, we have block periods where we only meet twice a week as a class, but they're 90-minute periods. And usually you'll be sent home with probably at least one assignment for each of those block periods. And you will have perhaps one quiz or test every week. So usually the chapter tests are every 3 weeks or so. For class supports, we use textbook. Those are big ideas geometry. We also have some Edpuzzle videos that you're going to be able to watch. So that'll be nice. And then we also have some class notes that are packets by chapter. And they're really structured notes. A lot of work went into them and were created to make those for you, to save you a lot of time as you're taking notes, to organize your notes. And then outside of class, if you need help, we have a study buddies program at Monte Vista, and that is where you get a one-on-one peer tutor who's usually a junior or senior, and they've usually gotten through at least pre-calculus or calculus, and they have plenty of math skills that they're able to help. It's a little less intimidating than coming to a teacher for help all the time, and you get to work with someone who's a little bit closer to your age. So that's a great opportunity if you need that. Now, some of the popular questions are, do the geometry problems require algebra? Absolutely. We have many equations in our geometry class that are maybe first-degree linear equations, so those are pretty straightforward. And we'll also have some quadratic problems too, so you're going to have to remember how to solve your quadratic equations from Algebra 1, whether that's, right, complete the square, quadratic formula, or factoring. So you're going to want to brush up on that, remember that. Is summer geometry a good substitute for regular school year geometry? And the answer to that is definitely no. You cannot cover a full year of geometry in 6 weeks. It just doesn't work that way. I've taught summer geometry at multiple programs. It's great as an enrichment or a repeat option, but I wouldn't suggest it for course advancement. I think getting the full year is going to be always your best bet for sure. Is there a lot of work involved? I'd say maybe just on average, depending on how long you take on your homework, maybe a half hour a night, 20 to 40 minutes, depending on how quick you are. So that's the main information for our course. If there's more, we'll be able to meet with you in the Zoom meeting when we have it for all the classes at the course information fair, and answer any questions that you might have. So thanks a lot for your time, and hope you find a great fit for your math class.